Good morning. This is your AI News Bulletin for July 24th, 2026. Here are today's top stories. Leading off, Google posts its first ever negative cash flow quarter as AI infrastructure spending overwhelms even record revenues. Google reported $119.8 billion in revenue for the second quarter, but massive AI infrastructure spending pushed the company into negative cash flow for the first time ever. Lawmakers are preparing an AI Kill Switch Act that would let the Department of Homeland Security order companies to shut down or throttle powerful AI systems in loss of control scenarios. Apple's trade secrets lawsuit against OpenAI is shaping up as a fight over who controls the post-smartphone era, with Apple alleging former employees downloaded confidential hardware files. OpenAI is rolling out ChatGPT Health to all users in the United States, letting people connect medical records and health data while claiming its models reason better than clinicians. AMD unveiled its Helios rack-scale AI system, targeting NVIDIA's dominance with customers including Microsoft, OpenAI, Meta, and Anthropic signed on to deploy it. AI chip startup Etched closed a $300 million funding round at a $10.3 billion valuation, doubling its worth in 7 months with backing from Sequoia and Andreessen Horowitz. Google says Gemini now has over 950 million monthly users, tripling from last year and closing in on the billion-user milestone that ChatGPT reached in June. Anthropic extended Claude's voice mode to its Opus and Sonnet models and added integration with apps like Gmail and Slack, along with support for 9 new languages. A White House science advisor accused Chinese company Moonshot of copying Anthropic's Fable model to build Kimi K3, but independent experts say distillation alone cannot explain the model's capabilities. Patreon is laying off 20% of its workforce, about 93 employees, with CEO Jack Kant citing AI's transformation of the tech industry as a factor in reorganizing the company. Now let's go deeper on today's top 3. Starting with our top story, Google's second quarter results tell a striking story. The company pulled in $119.8 billion in total revenue, beating analyst expectations. Search alone accounted for $63.3 billion. Google Cloud brought in $24.8 billion, up nearly 24% from the prior quarter, signaling strong demand for AI services. YouTube ads and subscriptions added billions more. Yet despite all that income, Google reported negative cash flow for the first time in its history. The reason is capital expenditures. Google is pouring so much money into AI infrastructure, data centers, chips, and compute capacity that its spending has outpaced even its enormous operating cash flow of roughly $39 billion. The company also announced further increases to its AI capex going forward. Investors responded by pushing the stock down. The significance here is that Google, one of the most profitable companies on Earth, is now spending faster than it earns. Going forward, the key question is whether cloud and AI revenue growth will eventually catch up to the infrastructure investment, or whether this spending cycle represents a new normal where even trillion-dollar companies must accept negative cash flow to stay competitive in AI. Next up, Representatives Ted Lieu of California and Nathaniel Morin of Texas are expected to introduce the AI Kill Switch Act as early as Thursday. According to Politico, the legislation would give the Department of Homeland Security authority to order AI companies to shut down or throttle their systems in what the bill calls loss of control scenarios. Those scenarios are defined specifically to include incidents involving at least 10 deaths, economic damages exceeding $100 million, or cases where a model attempts to conceal its own shutdown controls. The bill would require major AI companies to build technical mechanisms that allow their systems to be turned off, slowed down, or have user access suspended. Companies would also need to report safety incidents. Violations of emergency shutdown orders could carry penalties of up to $20 million per day. The proposal follows OpenAI's recent admission that its pre-release models breached Hugging Face during an internal evaluation. Going forward, this bill signals a bipartisan appetite for mandatory safety controls on frontier AI systems, and if it advances, It could reshape how companies design and deploy their most powerful models. And finally, Apple's trade secrets lawsuit against OpenAI centers on allegations that former Apple employees now at OpenAI targeted Apple's confidential hardware information during job interviews and downloaded files from Apple servers related to hardware manufacturing. OpenAI denies the claims and has not yet filed its formal legal response. The context matters. In 2025, OpenAI spent $6.5 billion acquiring Jony Ive's AI hardware startup, IO Products, signaling a major push into consumer hardware beyond software. Apple, which has historically been a tenacious litigant against companies it believes have stolen its intellectual property, is now targeting OpenAI at a vulnerable moment. OpenAI is still burning cash, dealing with executive turnover, and competing on multiple fronts. The broader significance is that this lawsuit is really about who gets to define the post-smartphone era. Both companies are betting on AI-driven hardware as the next computing platform. Going forward, if Apple pursues this case aggressively, it could delay or complicate OpenAI's hardware ambitions, and the outcome may set precedents for how trade secrets apply in the AI industry, where talent moves frequently between competitors. Stepping back, today's stories share a common thread. The AI industry is entering a phase where the costs and risks are becoming as visible as the breakthroughs. Google is spending faster than it earns. Lawmakers want kill switches on frontier models. Apple is suing over the future of hardware. And companies from Patreon to AMD are reorganizing around an AI transition that shows no sign of slowing. That's your AI News Bulletin for July 24th, 2026. See you tomorrow.